The most news in the morning. CNN's American Morning. Weekday, 6 a.m. Eastern.
Aid is finally flowing into earthquake-stricken Haiti. Up to 140 flights a day are able to get in there and bring supplies into the country. But it still is an uphill battle to meet the overwhelming need for food, water, shelter, and, of course, medicine.
Former Senate Majority Leader Dr. Bill Frist is just back from Haiti, where he performed life-saving surgery on earthquake survivors. He was down there with the charity Samaritan's Purse. He joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good to be with you, John.
When we had you on via remote from Haiti, you were talking about the extreme lack of supplies, that you were in there in the hospital. You had a girl whose arm was broken in several places. You did some surgery on it. You tried to stabilize it, but you didn't have the screws and the plates you needed. How's the situation now?
You know, when we went in and we did the conversation about a week ago, now we're at 2 weeks, we had no pins, we had no crutches, we had no casting materials, we had no antibiotics, and most of these injuries are devastating issues. Crush injuries, drownings are terrible, but these crush injuries require surgical repair. Otherwise you get infection, you have a lot of morbidity, and ultimately end up dying. Now, when I came out 2 days ago, supplies are coming in. There's still a lot of crowding downtown. There are 5 main hospitals. All of them are overloaded today. But you have pins. You actually have the supplies. The antibiotics are coming in, so we're in much, much better shape. This sort of injury does come in waves, though, and even some of the amputations that were done early on, people are coming back in from infections because we had no antibiotics early on. So it's going to take a continual, sustained supply effort over the next several days.
And so give us a sense of how you think that's shaping up now as we head into week 2. We saw Sanjay Gupta show a chart of sorts where they're trying to organize some of these medical teams. In some cases, they found that there were more doctors than they needed in some places. How is that coordination?
Well, the little things are happening now, because before, you just had, when we came down, there were 250 patients, and there was trauma, there was this crush, there was bleeding, it was very difficult. Now, because we've got a lot of good nurses down there, good trauma, triage type people, there's a lot more order to it. Supplies are coming in. It's going to be required for a long period of time. Now we're shifting into this overall second phase where we have to worry about clean water. And one of the problems with Haiti is there is very little clean water. The sort of food, the sort of shelter issues, all are becoming real. And there's a second wave of things like infections that can occur. Groups like Samaritan's Purse, though, did a great job. And one of the first things they sent in at the same time they sent us in as surgeons was water supply. A water supply system about 4 times as big as this chair that can clean 10,000 gallons of water a day.
Amazing.
And people don't realize something as basic as water is just simply not in Haiti normally. So that sort of infrastructure coming in consistently and solidly. The earlier piece you did with Sanjay is exactly right. I would not, if you're a doctor, don't just rush down there at this point. Be part of an established group that is on the ground. We don't need a lot of neurosurgeons there. Still need orthopedic surgeons. And then one of the heads of Operation Giving Back from the American College of Surgeons just went in yesterday to do a surgical assessment. So Operation Giving Back on the website of the American College of Surgeons is a place that people can go if you're a doctor and you want to volunteer.
Right, and again, they're trying to get doctors to some of those outlying areas as well, places like Jacmel, which were hard hit and virtually no medical relief there.
Very important.
We have been watching, as you've been talking, some of the photographs that you took and that you also have up on your website. And there's one particular story that I was intrigued about. A 16-year-old girl who was trapped in the rubble of a school was pulled out when you were down there.
That's the picture that's up now. It's amazing. If you look at the picture...
Maybe we can lose what's on the bottom of the screen there.
The story is a 16-year-old girl. Thank goodness this happened at 4:30 in the afternoon, and people were not in school. But she was a schoolgirl at school. Her dad, who's standing there with the blue book that happens to be a Bible, by the way, basically got the call, heard the earthquake, felt the earthquake, went to the school. 8 hours later, found her, calling out her voice. The problem, she was under 8 feet of concrete. Wow. There's no way you can move 8 feet of concrete. It took him 2.5 days with a pick, and the son, who was actually in that picture, chipping away. They got her out. We had to do emergency fasciotomies on her arm as her leg. She might lose sensation in her leg, but it is a fantastic story. She heard her dad's voice. She said, "Dad, I hear you," and 2.5 days to get out. And the son, who was also in that picture, helped as well. On rounds that morning, the father there had that blue book. It's in Creole, but he was pointing to a Bible verse again and again and again, and basically to show how thankful he is that shepherd's voice was heard in the middle of the night.
It really is amazing.
But those sort of stories and hopeful stories are there, and it's important for people to see that as well as all the human tragedy.
You're right, it really is, because we saw so much devastation, and to know that there is this spirit, that just can't be kept down. Long term, as you take a look at Haiti, we know that there are so many challenges. Once people who have had these surgeries, they're going to need prostheses. There's so many other things that are going on for Haiti. What do you think the biggest challenge that lies ahead after we're able to sort of triage the injuries?
Well,
What's next?
First of all, to keep the attention of the world on Haiti. It has a great historical tradition of churches sending mission groups down. Very important. But at this point, we need a lot of strategic planning, things like water, sewage systems, sanitation systems, roads. You can't get around today. How you get petrol, how you get fuel down there.
Right.
So it's going to take a lot of long-term strategic planning. From a medical standpoint, it's going to be very important to have a continual flow of physicians from the outside working alongside the Haitians who are actually there. The prosthetics you mentioned, all the amputations that have been performed, they're going to need prostheses to make these individuals productive and allow that opportunity once again. And so there are some great groups right now who are focusing just on prostheses. And then after the prostheses is the psychological rehabilitation. Everybody I saw, everybody in those pictures that you saw lost a brother, a sister, a mother, a father. Nobody was unaffected.
Right.
And that's one of the differences here, where you have this sort of segmentation of people being pulled out, families destroyed, huge psychological adjustment as well. And that's why I mentioned the Bible in that picture, whether it's faith, whether it is family support, whether it's spiritual support, a huge part of the overall wellness and well-being of that country.
Oh, great work that you did down there as well. I guess
a lot of people.
The early days of trauma surgery weren't so far away.
The nurses who we took down were really kind of the heroes. And Sanjay mentioned that, who can really triage, get people at the right place. It was fascinating. The outreach of Americans is pretty impressive.